Hey folks, welcome to another Not Naughty episode. Today is our first trip out in the Sounds and we've got problems already. Half of the boat mechanical situation is not running smoothly. The bow thrust is not really working. We've got some battery issues. This is all hectic. Hope you enjoy the film.
We've been looking forward to getting out on the boat for absolutely ages, but we've been plagued by trying to get our genset fixed. No genset means we're basically camping with only power to keep the fridge and the bilges running. So the kids invited some friends and we made our way out into the Sounds, heading to our favourite spot, Double Beach, and then on to Take In Bay down by Portage for a jetty swim and a chance to check out the local craft fair and meet up with friends at the resort's restaurant. The craft fair was fantastic. Hayley got a chocolate mint plant for the boat and some local honey. But the trip was beset by all sorts of mechanical dramas and an unforecast wild night at sea. This is one action-packed episode, so keep watching to the end.
What's happened, David?
Bow thruster.
The bow thruster is not working.
It's working, but it's not working. So, it must be something else. Drama.
Where to start? Well, it's been ages since we've been out on the boat. We've been away, we've been all over the country. The kids have been overseas, the kids have been involved in all sorts of different things. So this is our first summertime proper trip and we've been working hard to get the boat ready to go. That's involved some massive engine maintenance and some massive undertakings in terms of the genset, which had the coolant issue previously. We had to search high and low to try and find spare parts to get that thing fixed. We had to manufacture some fittings in order to marry up parts that didn't quite fit. And now we're out and it's horrendously windy. We have had some unbelievably bad luck. But this is boats. Where's the fucking room, dude? So this guy in the blue boat overtook us on one of the narrowest bits of the channel, which has got a couple of massive, great big humps in it, and it's just bang on the kind of limit of tide that we're comfortable going. And now he's going to go and cut the corner on the shallowest bit of the entire channel. And this is why local knowledge is key. Welcome to the Marlborough Sounds. Ta-da! So this is our first trip out with the genset since we've been making repairs. And guess what? The book is out. Looking at the batteries, so this is the first day after being out. We came out yesterday afternoon with full batteries. We've been running things overnight, and the next day we've got the solar going, 2 solar panels in the sun, but we're still losing 10 amps. So at about 70% battery, we really need to run the genset for a bit just to top us back up. However, the genset is still in pieces. We got it running, which you would have seen earlier in the video. That was sort of the test run, but the engine room is chaos. The genset is still, I need to put a whole lot of stuff back onto it and put the cover back around it so that we can actually run and make power. So back into the engine room we go. Beautiful day. I'd much rather be swimming and hanging out with the family. Look at that. And there's other jobs to do, including diving on the bow thruster, but that's for another video. Let's just get this done. Into the engine room we go with all the tools and the manual.
We've been spending a lot of time in the Kenepuru Sounds over the past few years and have made some wonderful local friends. Families living by the sea with their children, older folk on sailboats, couples running businesses. Our boat is quite distinctive, so when we appear in the Sound, it is often not long before visitors turn up. It is a fantastic problem to have. It makes us feel so welcome and a part of a warm and loving community. We wouldn't have it any other way.
So, an eventful little change of location from one anchorage to a mooring, and we had problems starting the engine. Didn't think anything of it. And we've been underway, and I noticed that there was a heap of water coming out of the engine room bilge. Went down, and lo and behold, we've blown a pipe. Yay! So hopefully it's just where the hose meets the pipe and I can replace that section. But potentially one engine, no bow thrusters. We're now in a really interesting position and it's windy. So let's see how this goes. Fun and games on a boat.
Picking up a mooring ball in 20 knots of wind is never easy, even when you have two engines and a functional bow thruster. All of this makes it at least somewhat achievable to keep the boat over the mooring ball long enough to attach the Kong mooring hook to the eye of the mooring line, and then get a more robust line attached to the boat. With only one engine working and no bow thruster, it was all hands on deck and a case of letting the wind blow us over the mooring ball. But it really was a touch and go manoeuvre with only one shot to get it right. This mooring is very close to the shore, and in this kind of wind it is not one to play around with, and you don't get multiple attempts. The rocks are so close. An old dog in the way certainly didn't help matters, but Hayley and Sophia, along with the muscle of Maya's friend Arlo, made short work of getting the mooring line up onto the boat so that I could deal with attaching our final mooring setup to it. I felt a lot more comfortable being on a mooring whilst we had so many complex issues with the boat that needed fixing over the coming days. And little did I know what lay ahead, both with the boat systems and the weather.
So we came in here to Taken Bay, it was gusting 25 to 30 knots when we came in, and we came here specifically looking for shelter because we had one engine down and bow thrusters that were not working. And that's on the list of jobs to tackle on this trip, was to get the bow thrusters working properly again. However, we didn't anticipate that we would be needing the bow thrusters so early on in the trip, and the wind would be so savage, because it's been forecast to be calm, but savage winds. So, boat fixing. We can see Hayley and the dog. The dog is just chilling out on the beach for a bit because it's just been windy and chaotic on the boat, and so Hayley's over there with the dog just enjoying some quiet time. I am in my work clothes and got my knee pads on, so that can only mean one thing: it's time to hit the engine room. And booyah, we have a whole lot of flooring up. All of the panels that are easily up are up. We're looking at a massive undertaking this afternoon and some major works, so let's get into it. First things first, we've got a whole lot of seawater in here that was spraying out of the hose pipe connection that ruptured. We've got to clean that up and check this out. Come over here, mate. So Alex is the cameraman, so we're on Alex cam. So all over here you can see the seawater, which is sort of dried off now because it's really hot in here. But in this pan, so that's just what got caught in here. What happened, and the reason why I caught this, as we were traveling, we started to empty the bilges. As I was watching the bilge water come out of the bilge, I noticed that it was foamy and very sort of clear and seawater based, and there was loads of it. So that got my hackles up. We'd also had the bilge, the engine room bilge, go off when we were at anchor in Double Beach. Where we were at Double Beach, there was a gorgeous day, but quite windy, and there was a couple of big boats that came in, and by big boats I mean sort of maybe 7 metre, and they were hooning around with kids on the back of ski biscuits. Now there is a ski lane there, so you can't begrudge them for wanting to have fun. It's a gorgeous place to stop and have a picnic with your family and get some ski biscuiting done and teach your kids how to water ski. So for us, the easiest choice is to move, because those boats, especially the bigger boats, when they come in and do the laps with the ski biscuits, we were beam onto those waves, and so the whole boat was rolling quite significantly, and the engine bilge alarm went off, or the engine bilge went off, and the alarm notified me that the bilge was working. So I thought it was time to go. So we headed out and went looking for another place to anchor. One of my jobs, as I mentioned before, was to have a look at the bow thrusters. There's an interesting story there, and so I was quite mindful that we were probably not going to have bow thrusters, but with twin engine you're all good. You can normally manoeuvre even in wind and even in close quarters without the bow thrusters. It's a bit harder when you're going into port, but out here when you're trying to pick up a mooring, not so hard. You can generally sort of work your way around it. As we were motoring along, the engine bilge alarm went off again, which meant the bilge pump was working. Not a good situation. Generally it means that there's an excess of water in the engine room. Something's blowing. So I went down into the engine room to be confronted with the video as you'll see it. Now the video I shot, which you're watching now, was after I'd raced back up to the helm and taken all of the power out of the engine. So when I first went in there, the water was spraying everywhere because there was a lot of pressure. With the throttle off and the engine in neutral, not so much pressure. So as you can see, the stream of water is still quite intense, but it certainly wasn't the fountain that I was greeted with. So here we are. It's hot, it's late afternoon, and there are plenty of things I'd rather be doing. However, I really have to address this because having a twin engine boat with only one working engine means massively compromised maneuverability. If you've got bow thrusters that you can rely on, maybe we could limp back to port with just one engine. We've done it before. However, one engine, no bow thrusters. Havelock is a terribly windy place. The Marlborough Sounds at the moment, terribly windy. So we're going to have to fix this. This could be a long night. Yay! One of the great quotes that you learn about when you own a boat, and a big boat, is owning a boat essentially is fixing a boat in beautiful places. and there is nothing more true than that today. We are literally in paradise. People come from all around the world to come here and see this place. It is gorgeous. However, right now in this engine room, it's probably, we've got to, let's see, it is 31.6 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit on screen now. It's hot in here. There's not a lot of airflow, and at least we've got the floor up, but man, I'd much rather be out the back, chilling out, having a swim, maybe looking at the bow thruster underwater. Instead, we're doing this. Right, Alex, let's go. First things first, let's get this Genset back together. That was one of the jobs. Originally, I was going to put through some cheap coolant and take it out and put through some decent coolant so that it's done and dusted, but I've run out of time to do that, so we'll just put the Genset casing back together. I'm pretty confident that everything is working as it needs to. We'll just get this all back as it needs to be and move on. And maybe in a couple of weeks' time we'll get the chance to drain this coolant out, which is just cheap coolant, and then put in some high quality coolant, knowing that we've kind of tested the system, we've run it a couple of times, and it's all good to go. Just like that. Just tight enough. Right, let's put the sides on. I'll get this started and then you can finish it off because you're over that side. See how this works?
Oh.
So Alex is just putting the rubber seal on. Look at all of his headroom. Dude. Just the right size to work in the engine room of the Oriental Lady. Sucks to be you. This is going to be your job forever now. You wait till we start doing the batteries.
Oh, the batteries.
And put our casing back together. Job done. Genset is officially back together. We're pretty confident that nothing's leaking because we've found the other leak. Right, let's get on to topping up these batteries whilst we're here, and then we'll tackle the big hose leak and see what happens. Here we are, familiar place, back in the engine room. It's the day after all of the repairs sort of happened in the afternoon. Had a very interesting end to that repair process. Put the cover back on the Genset and then went to fire it up and nothing. It was completely dead. So there's power in the battery here, but it's not getting to the Genset. So we've had an interesting time. No Genset. Luckily we'd been motoring, so the alternator had powered the batteries up quite considerably, and we've got solar. So the solar is only enough to keep the essential services running, like the fridge and the lights and a few other bits and pieces, maybe a cell phone or two, but not Starlink and not everyone's phones. So no Genset means board games, which has been fantastic for the kids. Right, we need to get moving. So I've got to see if I can get this Genset working, and we've also got to fix the engine. Now, part of the process yesterday was trying to identify what had gone on with that hose/pipe connection, and as it turns out, it's only a hose clamp. So hose clamp is super easy to fix and replace, so I'll get that done first, and then I'm going to go through the batteries and try and sort out why the Genset has got no power. We do have power in the batteries. I can see on the battery monitor that the battery situation is all good. It's just there's some sort of interruption between these two things. So I'll have to try and nut that out. However, it has illustrated a very major hole in my knowledge. I don't know nearly enough about auto electrical things or marine electrical things. So that's going to be some lessons for another day. I'm going to have to learn how to fix these things on the fly, because at the moment I'm out of my depth, which isn't unusual. This is not naughty after all.
Thank you very much for watching and sharing in a little glimpse into our life. We really appreciate being able to share these videos with our friends and family and the wider community online that we are now meeting. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment, as all of this really helps our channel grow. We also have a Patreon account now too, if you would like to engage with us more and get access to a deeper layer of content, as well as some of the art we have been creating along the way. See you in the next video, and we hope you find a way to be a little bit naughty each and every day. Take care.